Yeah, I think there's, I don't know, I think so. Mhm. Pretty sure.
Becca, when people are presenting, will you bring it up on the whole screen for us?
Yes, that was just an error last time.
Okay.
I thought I had hit the share screen button.
Okay.
So I was like scrolling through and looking at all the slides, and I was like, what are they talking about? They can't see anything. Yeah,
Well,
that was.
I'm not at my office. I'm in Florida visiting my daughter who just had a brand new baby. So I don't have my full
Congratulations.
setup to be able to look at the Dropbox easily.
Gotcha.
So
Congratulations,
it'll be shared.
Grandmommy.
yes, thank you. Thank you. A lovely little boy.
Oh, good.
Aw.
Yeah.
Are they home yet?
Yeah, yeah. He was born on the 2nd, and they
Oh,
came
nice.
home the next day, and he's a lovely big baby. She's doing well.
That's great. He held out for 2021.
He did. He did. And you know, originally, Becca, we were all hoping he would be born in 2020 just because there's family symmetry of dates if he had been born in 2020 with, you know, 30 years over multiple generations being
Oh, wow.
but anyway, 2020 is not a good year. So it was totally fine that he just hung in there and just waited another 2 days. And yeah, has his own year.
Yeah, my dad was almost born on April Fool's, but my gram liked to say that he held out until
Yeah,
the next day.
yeah, good for him.
Hello, Tim.
Hey guys, how's everybody?
Hey, Tim.
Yeah, hi Tim.
Good evening. Happy New Year.
Yeah, happy New
Happy
Year
New
to you
Year.
too.
Yeah.
Well, I believe we have all of our applicants here, and we definitely have a quorum. I believe everyone's here. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and then Phil can get started.
Terrific.
You ready?
Yep, go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Philip Dixon, Chairman of the Board of Architectural Review. And we welcome you to our BAR meeting. It's now 6 o'clock on January 5th, 2021. The time scheduled for our meeting to begin. Depending on the size or complexity of a project, each applicant has the opportunity to present a conceptual or master plan for our review prior to committing funds for a full set of design plans and specifications. Approval of a concept means that we might agree with the concept while disagreeing with some of the details. It also means that each phase of the project must be submitted at a later date once plans are more fully developed to obtain the board's final approval for that individual portion of the project. Hopefully, any disagreements will have been worked out before the applicant comes back to the board. One of the projects being reviewed this evening has been submitted before and is now ready to be considered for further approval. For those of you who may be new to our meeting, our charge is to look at each project purely on aesthetics, design, architecture, height, mass, and scale, and in harmony with the historic district in the town of Somerville. We look at the overall street scene. Although we're not required to solicit comments from anyone other than the applicant and the board members, except for demolition projects, we usually choose to allow others to express comments that might help influence our decision making after the applicant has presented the project and the board members have resolved any questions that they might have. As always, we will review each submittal in the order that it was submitted. However, as a first order of business, we must approve the minutes of our last meeting, which were sent to board members for review prior to this meeting. Are there any changes that are needed to be made, or do I have a motion that they be accepted?
I move they be accepted.
And a second,
Second. This is Beth.
please
Okay.
respond with a yes or no when I call your name. Jeff,
Yes.
Rachel,
Yes.
Cecile,
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
and mine is yes also. Our first project for tonight is 302 Rutherford Street, which is, they've been to us before, so we're here for further. I think you're here, aren't you, Lisa, or somebody for that project?
I'm the contractor, Greg McKenzie.
Okay, that's fine. You want to tell us about it?
So it is a proposed addition of carport to 302 Rutherford. As you can see there on your screen, basically modeled after one that's right down the street from it. I think she's basically decided to nix the addition of the deck on the rear of the property as well. So that won't be anything we need to discuss.
We're just going over the carport.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'll start. First of all, thank you for preparing these drawings and trying to make it clear what you're doing. And my only observation is that the example you had trim that went along the edge of where the roof meets the siding, so following the line of the roof, and that's not shown on this particular sketch. So I'm wondering, is that just an omission, or is that the style that
talking
you'd
about-
like to do?
Are you talking about the
talking about
fascia board?
No, I'm talking about on the end view, like here. Do you see how there's maybe it's a 2x or a 1x6 that follows the gable end? That's right. Yeah.
So the fascia
Right.
board.
Well, it's not the
Right.
fascia board. It's
It's-
the board
it's-
underneath the fascia.
Yeah.
It's the trim board for the
The siding.
siding to kill into.
Correct.
No, it's not the
That's-
soffit either. It's where the,
So the
It's-
freeze board. I'm just trying to figure out what so yes, so we can put that on there. You're talking about the freeze board that where the siding dies into it.
Correct.
correct.
Sure.
And I'm just also asking for clarity. Is your 1x8 wood trim, is that the depth of the beam that you are using, or is that just the trim that you're adding?
I'm sorry, ask that again.
You have a 1x8 wood trim that appears to be covering the beam that is
Yes.
across the opening. Is that the
Yes.
size of beam that you're using? Okay. But
Yeah.
What's the span of this carport? How wide is this? I don't see any dimensions here.
It should have been on one of them.
It's 9 feet tall,
yeah,
but how long and how wide is it?
Sorry, I don't have that stuff in front of me. I thought Lisa was going to be on this call.
I think I saw it there. Oop.
Yeah, it should have been on one of them, but I mean, I don't have the documents in front of me, so.
Keep going.
No, that's the
That
this
that
is
was the deck.
Oh,
the
I'm
deck,
sorry.
yeah.
That's right.
I don't think we had actually established that even in the previous meeting, because at one point I know Lisa had talked about having a storage space underneath. So it was kind of like it was more of kind of like the idea of the carport. I know she said that y'all had edited the dimensions of the
Right.
carport so it would fit within the
Yeah.
setbacks and
Yeah,
on the
and
property.
she asked me to do these drawings and actually remove, after the last meeting, remove the storage off the back and just do a carport.
Okay.
Um,
Because the little site plan looks like it's a square carport.
Is
Also,
it
that
one
would,
car or two car carport?
it's 20 by, I want to say it was 20 by 20 by 18.
right. I don't think
know
you
it's
can
20
span,
20 feet with
I
eight,
don't think you can span
8-inch.
20 feet with an 8-inch board.
Well,
With a
first of all,
2x8.
that's just a piece of trim. That's just a piece of trim. You don't have access to the structural drawings, which are with the building department that show the LVLs that go across.
Okay.
But she asked you earlier if that was the depth of the beam, and you said yes. So I'm sorry, that's where we were.
Well, I
Picking
thought
that up
she
from.
meant if that was the depth of the height of the beam that the trim was covering. I thought she was talking about the trim, not the actual beam
Okay.
itself.
So have y'all
So I just
submitted for the
misunderstood her
building
question.
permit? Sorry, have y'all submitted
Yes,
for the building?
that's been submitted to the building department. That's how we got to this stage.
Okay. I mean, if it would be helpful, I could log in and pull the building permit drawings. I mean, I haven't seen them yet, but
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes a difference here.
Tim, I have a question for you. So on the front, this is 20 feet wide and we have two 8x8 posts on each corner. And then if
Mhm.
the length of the building is 20 feet and we have 8x8 posts at 5 feet.
Because the load is being bared on the sides, not the two ends.
Okay.
Is that the question?
Yeah. I mean, the photo that you had originally showed us was what Lisa had presented as being what she was aspiring to. And there's a certain lightness that comes out of having 3 posts down the side. So a center post instead of 2 down the side. Do you see how she's got 3 down the side? Which just makes it look lighter.
Okay.
I'm asked, does anyone on the board have a comment to make about the 3 down the side versus the 4 8x8s down the side?
Well, I would agree that the 3 gives a better look.
Yeah.
Looks more substantial.
Yeah.
That particular
You can see the,
carport there looks like it might be 6x6s for the posts with a 1x8 band board.
Yeah, I agree. That definitely is a 6x6, or it appears
So-
to be in this photo.
So 3 8x8s would look nice.
Which is fine. We can do that. This is the carport was, I mean, the one that she was putting up is more definitely structurally sound than what you see there with 6x6.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, that's
yeah.
means and methods.
Yeah. I mean, I
But it's also important details for us. I'm sorry, I know that sometimes seems silly, but the difference between the 6x6 and the 8x8 and 3 posts versus 4 posts, all those things are important details. That's why we asked for a set of drawings.
yeah.
The
And do we
post,
have a side view from the, on the sketches? There, yeah.
I think it's a little clunky with
Yeah,
4 posts.
I don't see any problem with 4 posts being there. I mean, in fact, probably better carries the load.
Yeah, I'm
So
gonna
it's
agree with
more-
Rachel that this 3-post is gonna look better from an aesthetic
I'm just
perspective.
gonna say this. So I think that we all probably have an opinion as to how it looks. I can tell you that Lisa probably doesn't care whether it's 4-post, 3-post, or 8-post. So you guys just tell us what we need to do. If it's 3 8x8s, that's fine. I would argue that I think that probably 3 6x6s are not sufficient.
Right.
Then I tend to overbuild anyway. So,
No,
yeah.
I like the 8x8s. Does changing to 3 8x8s from 4 8x8s alter the engineering that you've designed for that?
It's not going to, because it was overbuilt anyway with the 4 8x8s and the double LVLs on each side. So it will not. I could actually span that with just the two, with just the 4 corner 8x8s and not even put any more in there structurally.
Just keep in mind, whatever ends up getting decided as far as the design here will need to be updated in your structural drawings. Because when it gets trickles back down to me for a zoning review, I'll be double checking that. But as long as that's understood, sometimes that gets forgotten and then it holds it up, and I don't want to do anything to hold a project up.
Sure. No, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go with the 3 8x8s.
Fine with us.
Do you like that, Beth?
I do, but I like odd numbers. That's
Yeah, I do too. I think they,
visually.
yeah, I agree. They look better.
Mhm. Now, will the image that we're looking at now, will that have a center post? Like the garage?
There was no plan to put a center post there because it doesn't need it. But again, if that's what you want to see, we can add one.
I'm fine with it not being there on the front, partially because I know how difficult it becomes to navigate use of the carport when you have that. And I'm okay with this end view as long as we add that trim band.
The freeze board, no problem.
And
that's my fault for not putting that on there. That actually should be on there. It doesn't work without it.
Correct.
What's the soffit going to be?
It'll be wood.
So plywood?
Is that what you want to see? Yes.
Well, I want to make sure we don't see the plywood deck above. So I want to make sure there is a soffit because you don't
Sure.
call out
Yes,
for a
sir.
soffit.
Yes, sir. It'll be. I'm sorry, I did not, but yes, it'll be plywood. It'll be 3/8 inch plywood.
Okay.
And wood fascia. Everything on here will be wood.
Okay. And the hardy, we do want the smooth side out, by the way, not the. We don't like the cedar texture, so if you can make it smooth, please.
Gotcha. No problem.
Is the back
And
of the carport
underneath the
gonna be open?
carport, what about underneath the carport when we look at the ceiling of the carport?
So again, plywood and the seam stripped and painted.
Okay. Okay.
So you've said that the lap siding matches the existing house. Is all the trim going to match the existing house?
Painted to match the existing house. That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so all the trim will be, I think the trim on the house is white. And I don't believe she's changing the color of the house. It's a greenish color, so the hardy will be painted the same color.
Okay.
There it is.
Yeah. Well, based on that, I'd be happy to make a motion that says with the paint colors clarified to match the existing, with that trim board added in the gable end, and with the side columns reduced from 4 to 3, that we approve the design for the carport.
I would just add to that motion the smooth hardy and also
thank you,
the plywood fascia
soffits.
and soffits.
Yes.
Or the plywood soffits and ceilings.
Yes.
There you go.
Thank you.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Great.
David,
Okay, and Becca, just for clarification, we're not worrying about the deck that's already been through the board before?
Correct.
That's
If
correct.
that
That's-
wants, yeah, if they
That's-
want to
that's
present
correct.
it for final at a later date, they're welcome to it. But that
Okay.
will just be deferred.
All right, if there's no other discussion, let me call roll, get everybody's,
Phil, can I ask a quick question?
sure.
I know before we had discussed the front door. Was that decided on at the last meeting? She was looking at replacing the front door.
I think everyone was in
Oh.
agreement with it. I don't know.
Solid
Yeah, and that's in the minutes that I sent y'all, but I don't believe there was an actual motion to approve the door.
Mhm.
I think y'all just all agreed that the door could go and that you didn't want to include a storm door in the replacement and that it would be a wood door rather than
fiberglass.
fiberglass.
Yes, yes, I do remember that. Okay.
There was some discussion about the bricking the front steps as well. And I don't know if as the contractor, you want to speak to that, if that's kind of in your scope of work as well as the carport.
It may end up in my scope of work, but I'm unfamiliar with what's going on with the front steps.
Okay.
So I could not speak to that.
Well, I think we could include the door and the carport in this approval. If someone else is going to be doing the steps and maybe redoing the back steps rather than a porch, we can revisit that.
Okay.
I was just reading the report from the last month's meeting. And there was conceptual approval is what was granted for all of it. That was for the door and for the steps and all. That matters to anybody.
So
That was conceptual. Are they asking for final approval today?
Just for the carport, I believe.
Well, what was submitted was for everything. But
all we're approving is the carport, right? That's all they're asking for.
Right.
correct. That's my impression.
Yes, sir.
I
That's
think
correct.
I think we just approve what we've been asked to approve and
Okay, we'll leave the rest of it for a later date.
okay.
All right, if there's no other questions, let me call, please answer. Jeff,
Yes.
Rachel,
Yes.
Cecile,
Yes,
Beth,
Yes,
Tim,
Yes.
David,
Yes,
and mine is yes. So carports approved as for the minutes.
Thank you.
All right,
thank you.
our next project is 308 South Main Street. It's a request for approval after the fact of an already instructed pergola floating deck structure. I saw Kathy was here. Is she still with us?
I'm here as the one that built it. Kathy was on.
Okay. So you're representing her on this? All right.
Well, I wasn't, but
Well, she was on just a little while ago, is
Yeah.
why I'm asking.
She was.
Perhaps we bored her too much and she hopped off. I'll send her.
If we have something else to review, why don't we do that and come back to this? If she's not here, it's difficult.
All right, I think that's probably a good idea. Let's go
Okay.
on to our third one, which is 140 West Richardson Avenue. Natalie?
I saw we had someone
Or
from
Abe.
that one.
Yeah. Hi, this is Nancy McEwen. Natalie is the one, I don't know why her name's on there. Nancy McEwen and Edward Tupper, representing 140 West Richardson Avenue.
Okay, you want to tell us about it?
Sure. This building is recently purchased by Jack Hibbets with Hibbets Insurance. It's a 100-plus-year-old building that's kind of a landmark here in Somerville, or at least that's my opinion. As a new owner, he would really like to renovate the building as far as there are a lot of rotten boards. I think we have a few photos in our original submission at staff level. He wants to brighten it up. He would like, this is probably going on 10, 12 years when this color was put in. He would like a traditional color of white with some gray and black trim. We have, again, that tree is just in there because it was a dead tree at the time of the picture. But he would like the stucco part in the back of darker gray, which again, we have. We have a approval for that. What we're here today for are two things. We thought because of the spans and how high this building is, and apparently it used to have lower windows, and I think some of those have been blocked off and closed in years past. We presented a white stripe down the soft gray, and I misspoke, I said white, it's a soft gray. We wanted to see some striping, and it would pick up, if you look over on the left-hand side, that trim around there is already there. And we just thought it broke up the building a little bit. It's showing a little wonky here in the picture, but it would actually be one of the boards. So it'd be straight across with one of the boards. And we thought it fell in line with the new awnings. The awnings currently are fabric awnings that are in need of replacement. Again, we're gonna put a more substantial structure to hold the metal black awnings that you see there. So, and he wants to get rid of a lot of the screens that are on the building, which kind of make the windows look a little dingy and so forth. So the line is what we're here for on your opinion on whether or not the building needs it. We like it, and we like how it fits on the building and where it's placed. I do have some other pictures if you'd like to see some other pictures of different angles of the building to show just how long it is. And
You can share your screen if you'd like.
okay. Let's see.
Can you clarify for me, you say it's a proposed white detail to break up the expanse. Is it a detail as in an architectural detail with trim, or is it simply a detail as it's a white line painted?
No, it's trim. So those would be, you have your lap siding there, and then right there, that would be a solid piece of trim that would be flat, so that it would not just be a painted white lap siding.
So it has texture.
It has
So
texture, yeah.
Is it just a white flat, like a flat board, or is there any kind of cap or flashing going to be visible around that? Or
No, it'd just be a white board.
You'll
Okay.
actually see over on the left-hand side how, you can't see my mouse, how that is a flat board. So we would be mimicking
Yeah.
what's already on the building.
yeah, it just is a little different when it's in a accent piece with windows.
Mhm. The other building was just so long. When you looked at that original green building, it just needed something, and there. See, it's just so long. So we're just trying to break it up, and we're open. We just want to break it up if we can, so it doesn't look so You know, just kind of those lower windows just look lost in there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I love the color change that you're thinking about. I'd love to actually see which gray. But to be really honest, I think older buildings have like vertical proportions, and doing a horizontal, like 2 horizontal stripes. I'm not really thinking that that's the right tactic for a historic building when it's not coordinated down that side with other architectural features. So I don't mind that it's, you know, it's this historic facade and that's what it is. Unless you were really going to add some architectural detail to do that. But even then, I'm not 100% sure I like the proportions created on the side.
I agree. If you're trying to break up that expanse, you would do it vertically rather
Yeah.
than horizontally. But my personal opinion is that it's fine like it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's
Do
a
we-
very handsome building on that corner, and I like it.
Yeah,
Becca, do we
do.
have any photos of the original building? Do we have any historical photos?
Oh, no, from the original,
No.
Tim, no. It'd be
Or
nice.
from, or I thought sometimes the town has some.
Yeah.
Oh, we can look into that. I do know you can see in the building, if maybe you go back to the green picture, the slide before.
Becca.
Becca,
Yeah.
you there?
We lost her.
Um,
Well, let me ask one other question. Just
I do have pictures. Sorry.
okay.
Oh,
Um,
you're pictures. Oh, wow.
I have the survey files from 96 and 79. So I'm gonna hold them up because they scan terribly.
Oh, wow.
So that's 79 right there.
Okay.
Not really different.
So you, yeah, I don't see, yeah, this is all overgrown too. He wants to take care of some of the bushes, but that'll be later. There does appear that there were windows down here or doors. You can see how they built them in, but I don't see that in that picture.
Yeah.
But
There's
it also,
there's a back view.
it also looks like there's a horizontal architectural piece that goes along the side of the building there.
And you
Becca,
know,
can you hold that up again? I can't see it, or hadn't seen it really yet.
Yeah.
that architectural feature that you just brought up, that line, looks like it's a little bit higher and it might balance when you
The
look
top one.
when you look at the other side of the building. There is a side porch, so that architectural feature of the line might balance the other side of the building.
I could see if you did something higher up, so you had a smaller piece at the top and then a wider, like a tall, like, so
Like
the
right-
top is narrower and the base is deeper. But if you do that, I really think you need to do it as a real piece of architectural trim and not just a flat board. I think it needs to have some kind of depth and
This is 96. I mean, it's not really any different except that front.
yeah,
That front view.
I can't really see that.
But there is a line of some sorts.
Right. But the line in the old pictures aligns with the cornice over the
Yes.
front windows.
Right. So you have a small upper and a deeper lower. So the proportions are, you know, a wide base and a narrower top part.
Or a third up on the top, so 1/3 and a 2/3 on the bottom.
Yeah, and that is a better proportion than, you know, just extending those two pieces of trim. So I'm open to you looking at that if that can historically be shown. But if you do that, I would like to see it have some depth and
Detail.
detail to it, and
Well,
not.
why don't we do this if that's satisfactory to y'all? Of course, I know you got to vote on it. Is all right. We understand you don't like these two, so those will go away, and then Nancy get with Becca and look at that picture, and we'll get with the owner, decide this, maybe put that in there, and if we do, we'll present it to y'all one way or another through Becca to look at it.
And show a profile of
the trim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We understand, Rachel, you don't want just a flat board. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if you have specific color pieces, I mean, we found when we were looking at colors of the barbecue restaurant renovation,
yes,
that seeing colors in place on site had a huge impact on what we could see versus, just looking at your color renderings. So I would really love to see actual colors.
Well,
like,
Rachel, I've already approved their colors.
have you? Okay.
and they are just a very soft gray. We'll be happy to share with them, but it's a soft gray and then just a one shade darker here. So they're very neutral, light gray.
Yeah, just for clarification, I think you included it in your submittal here. But these are the approvals that have been given. And they're really just for fencing, the awnings, color changes.
So,
Is
so let's talk about the awnings though. I have a concern about the metal awnings. And I know we have some poorly done fabric awnings here now, but the metal awnings to me are just very not in keeping with this project. And Edward, help me see the way you're building these. I mean, it kind of looks to me like there's a wood bracket with metal, maybe a triangular metal frame on top of that.
So your top is your aluminum frame that you would typically have, and then your metal panels, and then those two brackets on the side are wood. They're ornamental.
And I would just, to me, Edward, and really the BAR, I guess I should be saying, the board, to me, this is a very significant historical structure, and putting an aluminum awning on the side, a contemporary aluminum awning, is just very out of place and out of keeping here. I don't have a problem with an awning. I think it should be a wood awning. I think all of that should be constructed out of wood, to match those wood brackets. It ought to be wood framing above with a metal roof on it.
I mean, it's not a problem making it. It's not a problem making it wood framing to match that. It's just not that big. So
sure,
it just holds up better over time with the aluminum frame.
But we're worried about the details, the architectural details, and we want it to look good, not look like it was a 2000 edition where we just stuck an aluminum frame that goes on a contemporary, a new building. So,
actually, if you're going to use the wooden brackets like it is there, they could be the roofing material could be shingles to match the shingles on the building, so it'd be more like a stoop than an awning space.
Well, and there's certainly nothing wrong with the metal roof. In my opinion, the metal roof on those awnings, it's the framing of that. Edward, I would think they would, something like what we have over at Door Hall or
that's fine.
St. Paul's. I mean, that's the kind of look I think would be appropriate here, but I certainly need everybody else to weigh in on their thoughts here.
Yeah.
That's not a problem.
I agree with you.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No,
I'd like to see shingles, as David suggested. I think that would tie together better and be more in keeping, as Tim keeps saying, with the age of this building. This building has been here so long, and we all love it, and we want to make sure that we do the right thing for it.
Okay.
One thing I'll just throw out there for y'all to consider, really the shingle roof is not in keeping with the building.
Right.
So us tying in this canopy to the shingle roof up above that you really can't see from the streetscape, I think maybe we're tying into the wrong thing. I think it would be better for us to have metal standing seam roofs on these canopies, which the building ought to have. And then hopefully one day when they replace this roof, they'll put a real metal standing seam roof back on this building again.
I agree with you.
Okay.
I have no problem with that.
I 100% agree with you, Tim. It's the scale of the pedestrian would have the metal roof, and it's what you see and experience on the street.
And we don't have a problem with the metal, with the wood framing, Tim.
Okay, thank you, Edward.
But
That's easy enough.
standing seam, as you said, and not this flat metal thing.
Right.
Correct.
Right,
Standing
it
seam.
would have the standing seam bridges.
Right.
What color would the metal be?
Black.
Black now. Well, shown as black.
Mm-hmm.
I think that black would look best.
I would agree.
I am with the shingles and yeah.
And Edward, just make sure if you don't mind, follow our guidelines, with the panel. We have kind of selected, the width and the seam height and all that kind of stuff. We want to keep it to be kind of like an architectural, historic, as close to the architectural we can get.
Okay.
If I can interrupt for a moment, the owner has expressed that he loves the copper features that are on the front of the building. I'm not sure if anyone's ever noticed the copper. Of course, true copper, I'm not sure if that's in a budget, but would copper be a possibility?
Ideal.
Absolutely. Go for it.
Yeah.
But not real copper, the kind of copper that is in the metal. I mean, metal comes in, I don't know, 20 standard colors, I think, in copper.
No,
No.
it has to be real copper.
Real copper or black painted.
I'm gonna step on his foot. Black it is, black it is. I'm gonna step on his foot.
That's what I would ask for the owner.
No.
He may surprise us and want to pay
There's-
for copper.
There's the amount of copper on those roofs is not a horrible amount of copper.
Okay, it's black. He likes it black.
And right now, that's the only kind of true standing seam you can get
Yes.
is
Yeah.
copper, because they don't make turned metal anymore.
Yeah.
So that would be ideal if you could put that in.
Right.
Well, the other addition is a window on the front angled back. And this is where you asked me to provide some other document for it, which I do have something that Becca, I can either share my screen or if you want to pull it up.
Yeah. Go ahead, share your screen.
Okay.
So it's just adding that one window, am I correct?
It is, and there was
Okay.
some concern. Here is the problem. I'll pull this up real quick. Oops, I guess not so quick. Just give it a moment here. Okay, can everybody see this?
Yep.
Okay, there are pictures off to the right and the left, so I don't know where your viewing screen is. You might not see everything. So this is the front of the building, and this sits back, what do you say, about 14, 15 feet?
Yeah.
This tenant in here would like a window on the side for just a little viewing, for clients, so he could see in and clients can see him and so forth, and have a little bit more of a storefront. I don't want to say storefront, but have a little bit of exposure and add some uniqueness. The doors, if you could see over here on the right side, and the windows are all trimmed out in this craftsman style with a little lip here that goes straight across, and then the board comes straight down. That's also what you see over here, which I have more pictures to show you. So the question came about as these windows are 2/2. They're just double hung windows. You can see them up here as well. And these are 1/1. So what we would like, and then this is kind of jumping ahead a little bit. But so here is the window area that we would like. This shows you the trim of the door that's right here. And because we didn't get a picture to show you up there at the top, but this is the same as this door here. So these two doors look similar. This one's a little bit thinner profile for some reason. So the window that we want to propose has the exact same lip and the Craftsman style. We would propose, because it is a window and it's got a smaller profile, is a little bit thinner on the sides and the bottom and the top to best represent or resemble the doors, but a little bit more smaller as the side windows are done. So of course the windows would be tempered, low E insulated. Trim design would be the same as the existing doors and windows, painted finish, Craftsman style, straight square edges. And the individual glass, going back up to this picture, these are individual window panes, and then they have an inside and an outside frame of this wood trim. And the wood trim in between the two, the top and the bottom, is 1.5 inches.
Yeah, 1.5.
It looks larger here, but that's 1.5 inches. And in between and on the top and the bottom is 7 inches, in some areas 6 and 8. So we would best want to resemble the look of this using newer windows, of course, and present that. And this is
I'm sorry to interrupt. Are you saying that the horizontal bar is actually a surface mounted piece of trim? Is that what you're describing to me?
That's what it is on the front, Rachel.
No, I understand. So I'm asking just for clarification. That's
Yeah.
what you're suggesting, is you just put a surface mounted piece of wood there.
No, but it's not one full piece of glass. It's a piece of glass with a custom trimmed, framed out. So it's not a fake 1.5 piece sitting on top glued adhered to the glass, as what I think you're saying, or what you don't want. It's not that. It's sitting.
It really could be
right
either way.
inside. So
Why don't you just leave that out and have a simple open glass there? Because to me, adding that piece makes that opening look real clunky.
That's fine. We were just doing it to mimic the front, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to take a little different stance, and I kind of believe it ought to just be a window. It looks like those front windows were some replacements at some point in time. And so it seems like we're matching something that was already maybe poorly done already. So let's don't do any more poorly done things. Let's put a real window in there and match all the other beautiful windows that are on the building.
Well, I don't think the side windows are as beautiful as I'm not sure. I might have a picture. I'm not sure if I don't know vintage of windows, but they're these aluminum windows. Our thought was maybe do an aluminum trim on the glass and hide it with the wood. But see how they have this beautiful trim, which to me looks historical to the building. But then you have this aluminum.
But isn't that just a piece of, isn't that a storm window applied?
Well, there is a storm window, but on the inside, it's just a cased window.
But he's right, I think, Nancy, though. You just take that storm window out and then you're either out either way.
Okay.
Yeah, that is, you're correct about one thing, Tim. It is a storm window, because if you're on the second story, when you go to these offices on this left side, that's what's up there, and you're like, ugh. Yeah.
So, hopefully he'll remove the storm windows, and
we're
eventually.
hoping
That's the plan.
We're hoping when we take them off to paint and clean that we can throw them away, is what we're hoping, okay?
Right.
Honestly.
Yeah.
So my original view with the crossbars is kind of what you guys want. The original,
Yes.
I think you have that back on the original.
But I would again come down to historically proportions were vertical, and in a weird kind of way that doesn't quite fit. But I would also ask, like, it looks like the door head height is one height, maybe the side windows are another head height, and I would like to match the head height of this new window to the height of the door, so that together they feel like they go
Read
together.
Yeah, I agree. And make the
That's
windows vertical as you can. Get
Yeah,
as much
and then
length to it as you can.
that's right, which is why I like this, which appears to be 2/2, because it has those vertical proportions, which
Well,
are
this-
kind of seen in the windows going down the side elevation. They have those vertical pieces, don't they?
This is taken at an angle. It is a little bit, it's a lot wider than what it appears.
Right. But
Right.
are the
Why
windows
is
on
that?
the side street, do they not have,
Y'all have a side elevation?
yeah, aren't they
I
like
can
2/2
pull my
or
screen
something?
back up.
Let me see. I think I might have some pictures straight on here.
I meant, yeah,
One might be the most straight on I have.
You can zoom in.
like those are
Yeah, there you go.
2/2.
Now, these are much longer, so you want a more narrow, but because it's not gonna be that long.
I'm just saying
Clear.
that those really are the classic proportions that are in our historic buildings, where we've
Yes.
got vertical proportions in the window with the grids. So I'm not saying that window needs to be narrower per se, but if I think we should be doing a 2/2 window,
Right, yeah,
and
keep it
it should
wider.
be, and raise the head height so it matches the door,
The door, and make it
And
2/2, a
and
traditional
make it
window.
2/2, and it could be nice.
That's fine. The reason we picked that, because we went there today looking at that other front that had been added in, and so, well, we didn't know whether to try to do that at the
Yeah.
top, so hey, either way, I mean, it's just not hard.
We're only talking about one window, and
Yeah.
Edward, if you can, let's do a clad window, not a vinyl window there.
I understand.
And it needs to have the divided lights, the simulated divided lights. We don't
Right.
require divided lights, but simulated divided lights.
Okay. Okay.
Now, if you're standing outside of
like-
that window, you'll still be able to see inside. It's not too high, right?
And that's what he wants. He's a watch repairman, and the
Yeah.
reason this tenant, of course, he thinks people are gonna see a lot. He probably is more as much light as we can get him there window wise, but
Like I think you could
Yeah, I
drop
think
the
it could be a
sill a
little
bit.
longer. I
If
agree.
you want to drop the sill, I think that could be nice. And then when you make, the 2/2 grid, it would be really attractive.
okay.
Yes.
Now,
Okay.
is that awning going to be replaced or is that going to remain?
What's that?
Is that particular awning going to be replaced as well?
Yeah, I made it look a little better than it is here. It's not in good shape.
Okay, but will it match the ones on the side?
It can, Beth, but the problem is gonna be is the slope. If you see where it says Somerville Jewelers,
Yeah,
there's gonna be some problem. Now, we can do that and maybe change the slope or something and replicate it, but it's gonna have a little bit of challenge, but
yeah.
we can do them either way.
Yeah.
I don't know how everybody else feels about that, but I was just asking for consistency.
Wasn't there?
I would think try to match as close you can, Edward. I understand that you can't get as much slope there,
Right.
but try to mimic the look as best you can between
Right.
the two.
In the submittal, wasn't there two options? And one of the options was a 2/2 window?
Yeah, Nancy.
Well,
Yeah, but it
that's,
was, wasn't as vertical as what we've come up with.
it wasn't, and I apologize for that. When I turned it in, I didn't realize the detail that was gonna be needed in the window. I know we discussed that. And I was like, there's so much going on in the building. We want a window here. And so, so my apologies for not really putting more
Yeah.
detail into the window.
That's
So-
okay, no worries.
I would like to see it drop down just a bit so that the window light lines up with the top of the door. It doesn't, it looks like
Yeah,
it's
I think that's what she
high.
was trying to say.
Wait, I'm
The
sorry.
head should match.
Yes.
Yeah,
She's having a hard time getting it to align perfectly
yeah.
right now, but
I'm sorry, I don't understand. This should align with the door?
with
No, the
top.
head height of the actual window.
the head height of the actual window, not the trim, the head
Not
height
the-
of the window
Yeah, you want the glass and
should
the
align
glass.
with the door.
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't-
Yeah.
But- Yeah,
One kind of went up with it. Okay.
Let me ask y'all an opinion when we talking about this awning over this thing. So, it's a little scrunchy in there for room, and then awning's got a little bit of challenge. Unless y'all saw the awning go in either just over the door or over both of them.
do you know, it would be really nice over both. It would tie them together.
Well, Rachel, you're probably right, because I'm worried about trying to frame it out
Yeah.
of wood. If,
Never thought of that.
You know, if you did that and you put your brackets up, it would be really, it would make a very
Make a
cute
nice little-
entrance.
okay.
I
Mm.
like
Well, I think that it's gonna be easier to frame it across.
I agree.
both of them, because you
I
have
would
that big
agree.
old, okay.
it doesn't look happy. It looks, I like that.
It'll just make it
And then
all
you could put
come
some brackets on it and capture
Yeah.
that light fixture
Yeah.
on the side.
And have it match more the others down the side.
Yeah, just the more we looked at it just now, I'm thinking that thing, if we build that, and we do it like the others, it's gonna look jammed in there, that little gap, so, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and also just to make sure we are putting the brackets, of course, I'm sorry, the blue, we're putting line here and straight up and down, right?
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's
It'd be a-
two over
So it's
two.
it's a double hung 2/2 window.
Yes. Okay, no, that's all good input. Thanks for letting us do the canopy that way, because I think that it'd be a disaster trying to do it the other way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Do we need to make a motion, or what's the status of this? Is it conceptual or final, or what do we?
If we can make it final, it would be nice.
This is submitted as final.
Okay.
I don't think we can approve the trim on the side until you guys do some research. So I
Right.
think you got to come back for that, but for the windows and the canopies, I think we're good.
Okay.
Do y'all agree, everybody else?
Yeah.
Yeah, can I just clarify one thing? Can I just clarify that this is going to be an actual operational 2/2 window?
Yes.
Yeah, you tell me that way, but good
Double
thought,
hung.
yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Operational 2/2 clad window.
okay, just making sure.
Since he's a jeweler, you think he might not prefer to have only the top half operational?
He can put a lock on it. It needs to be historically correct.
Okay,
Hey, it'd be like the rest of them in the windows, they're all
Right.
they're all screwed shut. I
Right.
know what y'all
You
saying.
You can screw these shut too.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, it'll work.
So I make a
Good.
motion that we approve the window we just discussed with the awning going all the way across.
And-
And I'll second, and I'll just put the clarifications on there that it's a double hung clad wood window with simulated 2/2 simulated divided lights.
Right.
and the awning, is the awning to match the ones on the side of the building?
Yeah, with bracket and wood framing and metal.
Right.
um,
Wood framing and metal roofs, standing seam metal roofs.
Yep.
And that's for all three awnings.
Mhm.
There is one back in here, way back here, that basically has fallen off the wall, so the owner would probably want to do that one too.
Okay, so all four. Okay.
I think there's 4.
Now
Okay.
we can only see. Yeah, it's good, it's an old building, it's nice, look, it needs some love, so.
Yeah.
Those need some love.
It'll be
Yeah.
beautiful.
So we have our motion and a second.
I think we got a motion. Do we have a second?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion? All right, let me call the roll.
Can we
Jeff?
have the motion read back, please?
What was that, Cecile?
I'd like to hear the motion read back, so I'm
Yeah,
sure about exactly what we're voting on.
Becca, can you read it back?
Sure. So the motion in regards to the window, to have the head height of the window align with the door, it be an operational window. Sorry, my notes are like written on 2/2 simulated divided light. Am I missing anything? Clad
wood.
wood. I think that covers everything on the
The
window.
awning,
And
And
awning.
just the window, but the awning, to have the wood framing and the standing seam metal roof, and all four should match. Excuse me.
Is that what everybody believes?
Yeah.
Jeff,
Yes.
Rachel,
Yes.
Cecile,
yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
David,
Yes,
and mine is yes. So that is approved then.
We'll get with Becca about that trim. Nancy, get with Becca and we'll look at that. So either we won't have anything or we'll get details and come back to you for that.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Thanks,
Okay.
guys.
thanks.
Thank you. Kathy, I think I saw you. Yeah. You want to tell us about yours?
Can you hear me?
With an echo.
How's now?
There's an echo.
Yeah, Kathy, try turning your speakers down.
Oh gosh.
Or is there
Well,
two?
if you mute one of them, if you mute one of the devices, it should go away.
How about now? There we go.
All right, let's try it.
You did everything.
I don't understand how to fix it. How about now?
Stand by, Kathy. Hang on a second. Okay, go ahead and unmute yourself, Kathy. One of them. Okay. Kathy, can you hear us? Hmm. Yeah, go ahead and turn your volume down, Kathy, on your device. Just go ahead and turn the volume down, and then you can speak. Your volume doesn't need to be up for you to talk. So.
This is unbelievable. I can't find my volume.
I don't know if I can help you.
I don't think anybody can. I'm trying.
Does she need both devices on?
Kathy, we're gonna go ahead and remove one of your instances. I don't know if that'll help or not, but we'll try.
Cause I tried.
Okay. All right, how about now, Kathy?
Well, you're here now. I can hear you on my iPhone.
No, you're good now.
Okay, so and I can so I just have to look at the iPhone now.
Yeah.
Because the MacBook's froze. Okay, we're good. We're good.
All right, somebody want to tell us what's going on?
It's all yours. Kathy?
Okay. Well, what happened was I had a little covered area out back that I had a grill, I had some kayaks hanging on and some flagstone. It was looking pretty bad, so I wanted to update it. I did not realize I needed to have a permit from BAR because since it was in the backyard, it was basically replacing something that was already there, albeit this is a lot nicer. So went to work, had my contractor install, and I think it was 2.5 weeks later, I get a knock on the door, and a nice gentleman told me that, that basically I should have contacted town hall as far as getting a permit. But as I told him, I thought by code that since it was a free floating deck, not attached to anything, and since the structure itself was replacing one that was 10 by 8, it wasn't 200 square foot. So it didn't need, I just didn't realize that I needed to do this. I thought I thought wrong, but that's what happened, just trying to replace an area, make it a little nicer and functional for outdoor entertaining.
Any questions?
Kathy, are you going to paint this?
Well, I didn't intend to because it's cypress, it's milled cypress. And as it ages, well, the structure is, and as it ages, it'll, got weather and gray, and to me, it'll blend in a little bit better when the foliage and all that in the, summer and all with the trees. I just think it'll just look more natural, like it'll blend in.
Does it have a clear coat on it, or is it just plain cypress with no coating at all?
It's just as fresh as it can be. It was milled, and so it has nothing on it at this point. Now down the road, once it sets, I don't know for sure if I need to varnish it or not. Bill, my contractor, I've asked his opinion because anyone that's seen it has just been so impressed with the look of it and just thinks it looks so natural.
I see nothing wrong with it being left unpainted. That's a personal choice, and it'll weather. And of course, I have an example of letting a post and beam structure weather as opposed to painting it and turning it into a lifetime nightmare of keeping it painted.
Yes, sir.
Is it visible from the street? I don't know this property.
No, ma'am. In fact, one of my neighbors walked over to see because she got the letter. They received the letter, and she didn't even know it was there. And her and her husband, I told them, come on over and take a peek at it because you can't see it from the front.
Mm-hmm.
No, ma'am.
This is across the street from the Dial Funeral Home, Rebecca.
Yeah.
Rachel.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I personally think it's a nice looking structure, and I don't have a problem with it either. I would make a recommendation we approve it.
Yeah.
I do have 2 public comments to read. I doubt they will sway your opinion because they are in favor. But as a part of procedure, I do have to read them.
Yeah.
Dear Ms. Zimmerman, I would like to voice my approval of the new yard house and floating deck located in the rear yard of the subject property. This property is located to the north of my lot, and the new structure is not visible from my home, nor is it visible from the street. Ms. Lauder used a craftsman in the design and construction of this yard house, and it is a fine structure and a nice addition to our neighborhood. It should be noted that the new yard house is constructed of cypress wood and that it should not be painted and allowed to naturally weather. I am certain that our fine Board of Architectural Review is very busy and should not have been troubled by this high-quality accessory structure. Sincerely, D. Scott Wilson, 310 South Main Street. And then the next is from Lucy Hibbard. Dear Town of Somerville staff, I, Lucy Hibbard, and my family live at 105 West 3rd South Street, 2 doors down from Kathy Lauder's home. We recently received a courtesy notice to inform us of her new pergola floating deck structure that was built in her backyard, and wanted to comment as a neighbor who appreciates the historic district as well as our wonderful neighbors. My husband, Todd Hibbard, and I hadn't noticed the structure as it isn't easily visible when walking or driving by. So we asked to come see it, and Kathy kindly invited us over. Todd and I both agreed that it looked great and was a major improvement to the previous structure. The design matches the home, the front fence, the other homes, and the feel of historic Somerville. We hope that you will approve this structure as it improves the property value and keeps our block looking updated and nicely kept, though as said before, isn't very visible to passerby. Sincerely, Lucy Hubbard. And those are the only 2 comments I got.
I have only one comment that I'd just like to have recorded in our minutes, is that I think it's such a nicely built, beautifully crafted structure and so thoughtful, like thinking about it being cypress and weathering, and that I think it's really appropriate because of its high quality of design and construction and product. So I think it's a good fit.
Well, I really appreciate
Rachel, you want to put that in the form of a motion?
Yeah, I'll put that in the form of a motion, that due to its high quality of design, craftsmanship, construction, and products, that we will approve this structure after the fact of its construction.
I'll second.
Great, thank you. Any other comments?
Phil, I would like to ask one question.
All right.
Kathy, I was wondering, is there any lighting in the little pergola?
No, ma'am, not inside it, but we have some lights that were already strung outside. But it does have electricity.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't any kind of like a permanent light that stayed on all night or anything like that. Perfect.
No.
I think it's an asset. I love it.
Thank you.
That's it, Phil.
Okay. All right. Jeff?
Yes.
Rachel?
You made the motion, right?
No. Cecile? Hello, Cecile? Beth?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And mine is yes.
And I'm a yes. I don't know how I got muted.
Sam must have done that.
No, he's on another floor.
Kathy, thank you.
That one.
Thank you, guys, and I'm sorry for all the video audio trouble, but thank you very much.
Hey,
No worries.
we all have that problem, but it looks good, and I wish you well with it.
Hey, if Carolina ever gets a good football team, come on by.
It'll be well aged by then.
Y'all have a good evening. Thank you.
Thanks, you too.
All right. Miscellaneous.
Oh.
So I didn't have time to add this to the agenda because of the fun 24-hour rule that I have. But Jesse and I, have discussed a couple different things. And for y'all that don't know, we met with Phil and David and GW and our town administrator, Rebecca, just to discuss, the fence issue and guidelines and kind of things that we need to revise. So we're working on that right now. Jesse has sent me a few examples of how the UDO could be changed and, to make sure we cover those corner lot issues. So we're in the process of working on that already. So I don't think we're going to vote on anything tonight. We want to have something drafted for y'all to make comments on at the next meeting. And then y'all can make edits and vote on it and have discussion. But I did want to bring something up. My concern about 140 Richardson with the approved awnings, and I opened up our section to the awnings there. I think if y'all really want to have specifics about the materials for awnings, that we need to also consider changing that in the guidelines.
So what does the UDO say, Becca?
Well, you mean for awnings?
Yes, for awnings.
So there's nothing really in the UDO about awnings except for signage.
Well, I'm sorry, in the guidelines, I guess I should
okay.
say.
Yeah.
Misspoke there.
No, it's okay. So really, they just talk about they must not obscure or hide significant historic features or details. They must be mounted to historic masonry buildings through the mortar joints rather than through the unit itself.
Good job, Bill. Good job.
What guide are you looking at, Becca?
Our BAR guidelines.
I know which one? Guideline number what?
Oh, okay. It is for
Kathy needs to.
I was like, who is that? She's celebrating.
She needs to.
Lenny, can you kick Kathy off? Okay.
Done and done.
Thank you. This is 5.15 for commercial properties on page 95.
Yeah, I think that what makes this so different is the historic nature of that building. And I suspect those guidelines were written generically for all buildings. And because that building is a historical gem, I mean, it's built like a house, basically.
Right.
The level of what's acceptable is a little different there than maybe on a commercial structure where it was new construction and the aluminum awning would be okay.
Right.
So I think that's the difference in this case.
Well, also, I really think that we're parsing over calling what we decided to have them do an awning when actually it's a stoop. If you're gonna have a wooden frame with a metal roof on it, that comes much closer to being a stoop roof than what I would consider an awning.
Well, that's true. Because usually awnings, you think of them as being a temporary addition.
And canvas.
Yeah.
But isn't a stoop normally, well, never mind, doesn't matter. I hear what you're saying, David. But it's just what they were showing in that little diagram. I mean, that's what we put on like a modern strip shopping center.
Right.
And so you build these aluminum frames, and then they had kind of put these wood brackets underneath for it to sit on top of. And I'm going to say, if that had gotten built, that would have really looked bad on that building.
Yeah.
The canvas awning that was there with the sides and all, that's okay for an old building. It's not great, but it's okay. But man, that would have been really bad. I don't know how we look at that with a closer eye. And, you know, maybe Becca, if you've got some concerns, you could send them to Rachel, you know, when it's a historic building, and just kind of get her, you know, take on thumbs up, thumbs down, or does this need to go further or what?
I'll be honest with y'all. I mean, just from looking, you know, and these awnings on the awning on the side it doesn't exist in the 79 picture, but that doesn't mean anything. I mean, Jesse and I looked this over a few times, and it's hard. It comes back to the fence thing where when I'm, you know, I essentially probably, it seems like I need to question everything but reshingling or color changes, because at this point I don't want to have to tell a citizen, which I told them, you know, your project is approved based on our guidelines, you know, and y'all have many more years experience than I do, and especially experience with Somerville in particular. So I guess that's my worry here is I don't want to tell someone that they can do something and then it not fit, you know, your expectations, as far as, you know, the specific details of materials. And yes, there are case by case scenarios, but if it's going to be case by case for every building, then perhaps that's not something that I should be approving at a staff level, which is fine. I just want I want it to be as easy for the citizen as possible, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's one of the about living in a historic district. It's all different.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know years ago, Dream began encouraging the businesses along the square and in the historic district to put back up canvas awnings. And, you know, we've been pretty supportive of people putting up canvas awnings unless they wanted to put up some bizarre color or design on them. But, you know, those to me weren't really awnings that they were proposing. They were half-assed porch stoops, and we turned them into quality ones. But that's my two business. I don't generally, I may not be founded in this, but I don't think of an awning as having those wooden brackets. Those wooden brackets turn it into a different structure. Now, if they had wanted to put up a typical canvas awning over the door, that would be something different than what I see that they presented. That's my 2 cents.
I agree.
And I guess, Becca, if they were replacing the canvas with a new canvas awning, then that would certainly be what you would
Right.
approve. But when they change the design details, then I think that's when it needs to come to us.
Right.
That makes sense. I can definitely agree with that. So maybe that's something, because I'm trying to think of the easiest way forward for me as a staff person and y'all as board members. I think what the nice thing that the UDO does is it allows for things to be minor, but maybe the clarification on those specific details can come in the guidelines, because we can change those without going before council. You know, so those minor things, that list of minor things, I think it's like 7 or something, that I can approve at a staff level. Maybe there's some details we need to suss out specifically like, yes, you can approve it at a staff level per the UDO, but in the guidelines, if it's a change of material, then no.
Would you mind sending us those 7 things or that page out of there, just to make it easy for us, and that way we could look at it and try to write down our thoughts before the next meeting?
Yeah, I think that would be great. Because also, I've sent it at some point, but I'll send it again as a separate email just so it's easier for everyone. But there is also something in there that Jesse and I found that kind of conflicts, where it allows me to approve the demolition of non-contributing accessory buildings, but technically I feel like every demolition should go before the board. So I think there are some things that we need to review with that. So I think it'll be good for us to get kind of circle back on that list of things.
Sounds
well, it is a brand new document that may not be permanent, but it's a lot better than anything that we've had in the past. And so it's a work in progress. And Becca, I think that if you look at the board members, most all of us have been on for many terms. And any time that you have a question, pick the one you think is the most knowledgeable of that area and call them and ask their opinion. And any one of us will be glad to give you an opinion rather than having to wait and come before the board. I will, and everybody else that's on the board that I know will do the same thing. So use us as a team. If you have any question about it, just ask.
Yeah, and I definitely utilize y'all and trust your opinion, obviously much more than mine. And my only, gusto for having the guidelines kind of reinforced is because this is a document that I send to pretty much everyone who says, I want to do a project on my home. I live in the historic district. And I think having it be at least as clear as possible for people looking to do these renovations and better their homes and businesses is beneficial. Obviously, we can't account for every situation, but I want to make sure that, if we have a document, that it's a good document.
I would like to say that the meeting that Phil and I had yesterday with staff, I think went very well. And I think the town is very supportive of what we want to do with closing up some of the potential loopholes in the documents. So I felt very supported yesterday.
Yes, I agree. And like I say, we're going to find things. I mean, it's just going to take time. And when it does, we'll sit down and we'll figure it out. And so there's going to be amendments to this document. And I think that's fine, but it's a fantastic start.
Yep.
And I say, thank God we have it. I mean, it should help you an awful lot, Becca, be able to hand something to them and say, here, read.
Yeah, they're a little disappointed when they see how long it is, but
well, but you can tell them which section.
Yeah.
But still,
come a long way.
Yeah, we've been around before we had it, and so we know how much better it is.
Who's that old white-haired guy in your kitchen?
It's a ghost. He's getting hungry.
So am I.
So am I.
Hey,
well,
Becca, thanks for all you do, by the way.
I need a motion to adjourn then.
I so move.
I second.
I'm not even going to ask. I'm going to say turn it off.
Good.
Y'all have a good night.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.